All right. So, hello, guys, and good evening again to everyone. And thank you so much for tuning in to Tech PH. Third, this is actually the ninth online Saturday session uh, on design and development. So, I'm Luis Barring, your host. So, today we are joined by Andre de Guzman. He's a software engineer at Senti AI. And today he will talk to us about progressive web apps or PWA. So just a reminder to everyone who's watching us right now, please make sure to use the comment section of the video to send your questions or suggestions for future sessions. And if you want to say, anything, if you know Andre and you want to cheer him up, then just leave a message, and we'll definitely post it on the screen as well. And we will try to answer all the questions at the end of the session. And for those questions that we aren't able to answer tonight, don't worry, we will get back to you after the event. So we'll send you an email with Andre's answer to your questions. And also a reminder to everyone, next week on our online Saturday session, we will talk about Android and iOS native development. And we will also be scheduling workshops that will be designed to teach you different skills on design and development. So please continue to visit our page on Facebook to know the details and to register to the event as well. Uh, and additionally, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we have a YouTube channel, and we're saving all the videos there. So for future reference, you can always go back to our past sessions, or you can also recommend a friend to watch the videos if he or she wants to learn a new skill while we're in lockdown. And on uh, for this session, this is powered by recruitday.com. And additionally, I'd like to let everyone know that we're also looking for Android developers. So if you're someone with experience and would like to start a career as an Android developer, then you can simply scan the QR code on your screen, or you can also refer the job to your friends. So if you scan the QR code, you'll be sent to our website, to Recruit Day's website, and there you can either apply for the job or refer your friend to the job. And exciting. I think we will have a referral bonus for that as well. And additionally, we also have an online session about design thinking, which is very timely for our upcoming Further into Design online Saturday sessions for July. So that's an online self-paced course, and simply scan the QR code. And later, I will be posting the link as well to this video for everyone to refer to. And you can also refer your friends to the online self-paced course. So for tonight, again, we have Andre de Guzman of PWA Pilipinas, and he's also a software engineer at Senti AI. Hi, Andre, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Okay, that's good to hear. And I, first of all, before we start, Andre, I'd like to thank you for supporting this initiative and for sharing your knowledge and experience on progressive web apps. So, without further ado, everyone, let me give the floor to Andre.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andresito de Guzman from PWA Pilipinas. I'm also a software engineer at Senti AI. So first, I'm going to introduce our organization, PWA Pilipinas. We are a group of progressive web app enthusiasts, designers, and developers here in the Philippines. Our mission is to have meetups and provide help to encourage Filipino companies and developers to build their progressive web apps. And our vision is to introduce progressive web apps to the Philippines and beyond. Well, what made us um, create this organization? Well, as you can see here at the map, currently, like almost all of the countries on the planet has their representative progressive web apps. And if you're going to look at the Philippines, we currently do not have something that we could truly be proud of. That's why. Okay, so let's begin the introduction. Okay, So our objectives for tonight is to have a glance at web development, just in case to for us to have a refresher. Also, we'll have a glance at app development, and we're gonna look now at progressive web apps and look at the essentials, what needs to be added to your web apps to make it progressive. And we're going to have a really quick code lab about adding progressive web app capabilities to your Angular projects. So first, we're gonna look at web dev first. Let's have a history or like a background for it. So most likely, if you were an IT or an IT or a CE student, then you have your web dev class, and for the most part, the languages that you might know are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you know some backend language like PHP or the PHP hypertext preprocessor. And most likely you could remember that I believe that most of us, including I, though I'm not an IT student or graduate, but we have tried using this in creating our web projects. So basically, this XAMPP is an application that we use to quickly add servers to our computers so that we could develop our websites or web apps. So basically, it's a stack, right? Just to refresh that it's a stack. Our OS is typically Windows, Linux, or Mac, and the server runs on an Apache. Our database is MySQL or MariaDB for newer versions of XAMPP, and PHP for scripting language. Though sometimes it contains Perl, but that's um, not we're not going to discuss it much. So let's talk about ends. What are these front ends and back ends? So first, front end or client side. Basically, this is what the users see or they interact directly with, or basically it contains the interactive parts. This is what you use on your device. This is what you click. And we also have the back end side or the server side. This contains the business logic, like this is where your data is stored, it is where it is processed. And as I've said earlier, the rendering techniques are server side and client side. So both of them are going to show something like this. Like it may contain a text or a button. So let's look first at server side rendering. So in server side rendering, um, typically all of the information, like I mean like all of the view or the what you're going to see are already processed at the back end. Let's say putting your name in the page, it's already placed in there. So the output you can see at the right is as is, like hi Juan de la Cruz. That's static. That's already the output. But in client side rendering, the only thing that would be given by your backend, instead of earlier at the server side rendering, this that is what is going to be displayed already. But in the client side, only the only thing that would be sent typically are the template and the data. So the processing would happen client side. That's why it's called client side. Okay, it would look something like this for your client. Okay, there. It's like what I've said earlier, server-side rendering data is added to the HTML on the server. Meanwhile, client-side, everything, all of the processes on the view is done on the client. Okay, so here are the pros and cons of these two different rendering techniques. With server-side, you could develop quickly because you don't have to do separate things, one for the business logic, one for the view. Though its cons is that um, it is slow because everything needs to be sent. Unlike client side, that um, once the view is already sent, only the data needs to be sent. Now let's talk about responsive design. So if you're familiar, responsive design is made because the web is ubiquitous. It is present in almost all form factors. You have your phone, you have your desktop, you have your TVs, and every other gadgets you have. So to address this, websites and web apps are made to be usable across all of these screen sizes by using CSS breakpoints. So CSS breakpoints contains the logic, the design logic to which only when a certain style would be applied. Let's say for this screen size of my phone, this would be shown. If I'm using a desktop, it would be shown as such. So now we're done with a quick refresher on the web, like client side and server side. We're gonna look at app development just to refresh ourselves once we get into progressive web apps. So, what is an app? Well, basically, an app is any rich interactive programs that you use. Unlike a website, apps contains um, lots of of logic, lots of interactivity. Like you can do many things with them. So there are different types of of apps of app development. We have native apps first. So native apps are your typical packaged and compiled apps that are written in compiled language, typically using Java or Swift or Dart, and they are typically distributed through an app store like Google Play uh, and such. And also, internet is optional for its usage, except um, when you need to download them the first time, or when you need to get the data or use the app to do something. So in general, all native apps are client-side rendered. That's why you need to download them first. You need to download the view. So next is hybrid apps. So these are packaged and or compiled apps that are written in the compiled language for its shell. So just the shell. But inside, it uses web for its user interface and interaction. But unlike what you typically know about web apps is that it has elevated features that native has like hardware access and more. And also, for some hybrid apps, it's optional. Internet is optional for you to use them as the web interface is sometimes placed already on that app. Okay, next is web app. So these are your typical apps on the web. If you've used Facebook, that's a web app. If you've used um, the good old sites that you where you like do your documents and stuff, those are web apps in general. So when it comes to web apps, since it's the web, they're not compiled and they are not packaged typically, but sometimes they're bundled in newer sets of web apps. And also, what's different with native apps is that typically internet is really required for you to use them, for you to use web apps. So since we know what web apps are, like they are apps on the web, let's have a look at traditional web apps. So usually they are server-side rendered. They are designed for desktops and large screens, and they're inefficient caching. If you're going to remember your the old sites where you like library management system like this one, um, that's an example of your traditional web app. Yeah, they're still apps, but they're a bit more traditional in a sense that they're not responsive in terms of like can't it doesn't look good on mobile phones and stuff. You have to scroll everywhere just to do something. And the problem with and typically some almost all of them are server side render, hence they're slow, they're mobile. And this is where progressive web apps come to the rescue. But what So let's try combining the good stuffs with web apps, like their ability to be on the web. They have URLs, they could be shared, they could be they're ubiquitous, and add native app functionalities to that, like access to hardware, ability to work offline, and if we combine that, we get progressive web app. So just like what I've said, right? What's a progressive web app? It's basically your web apps added with native apps functionality. Or basically you could say that progressive web apps are just web apps with progressive enhancements. So some of its great features is that it could work offline, just like your native app. You can install it, unlike what we've used to know with web apps that there you need to open your browser and stuff, type the URL, and you don't have to. You can install progressive web apps, and they're also engaging. We have push notifications. They're smaller than most native apps. They're also shareable through URLs, the beauty of the web, and they're also searchable. Some of the examples of progressive web apps are as follows. So international, we have Twitter. So if you've used twitter.com, then it's a progressive web app. How would you know? Try um, try going out of the network, try turning off your Wi-Fi or mobile data, and try opening it, and you could still see something. It's not gonna show you a no internet connection page or the dinosaur. You're going to see something, the shell of the app. So yeah, the twitter.com. And also Instagram. So if you don't want to install the native counterpart of Instagram, you could just basically open Instagram.com and install it on your device. And that's it. You can use Instagram immediately, no overhead of downloading and storing large application files. And also Tinder. If you get to use Tinder and you don't wanted to install the Tinder client, if you just simply open Tinder.com, install it, and use it. And in the Philippines, we do have some industries that are already leveraging progressive web apps. For example, ClickShop. So ClickShop by 7-Eleven Philippines is one of the great progressive web app examples to date, since they do not have a native counterpart. So you really need to open clickshop.com and um, use it, or if you like it, you can install it and use it on the succeeding visits. So let's try opening it to see for ourselves the benefits of progressive web apps. Okay. Okay. So let's try opening the camera. So the good thing about progressive web app is that since there's no need to install first, you can immediately use it. So for example, I have this QR code for ClickShop, and I just have to scan it. Hopefully it works. Okay. And it would take us to unfortunately it's not available, but when it works, um, it shows something just like this. Okay. Unfortunately, Demo God isn't good to us today, but anyway. Shop SM also is a progressive web app. If you do not like to install their native counterpart, you could just simply visit shopsm.com and buy first, then install it when you really like Shop SM. And of course, I want, if you are a Kapamilya fan, so we have I want as well for as a progressive web example, but it's still on beta. So if you want to test that out, you just visit beta.iwant.ph. Can we try that? Wait, I think we could. Okay. Okay. So let's try doing that. So I scan for it. Oops. Wait. Let's try again. Okay. Okay. So since it's installed already on my device, since I've been using it, we can just simply open I want. So yeah, it's using Angular, but just wait for it to load. Okay, there. So I could immediately use my I want PWA anytime, anywhere. Okay. So for some of the fun examples, we're gonna try some fun examples. So for transportation, I've made an example PWA that we can try. So for example, you're going to ride the LRT1 and you don't know the station you're going to, like at which station you're at right now. I've made Project Trend, which is a train tracker. So basically, let's try it. Okay, there. So as quickly as that, you could use your PWA instead of installing it first. So this is cool. So let's say I'm going to, oh, it already knows I'm near Monumento. So we could go somewhere, like let's go, I'm going to EDSA. Could just track my ride. But also if I liked the project trend, I could just simply install it. And while I'm using the app, it's installing in the background. It's it's there installing. So that's cool, right? Do we have something else? Oh yeah. Um, progressive web apps are also good in food and beverage industry, like QSRs or delivery apps. So I've this one is also an example that I made, which is Quick Eats. So we could uh, order food just by scanning. Okay, it's having a hard time. See if it works. Okay, and it would open the progressive web app. Okay, there. Um, let's try signing in. So you just have to scan it and then use the PWA. So just going to log in. Okay, let's wait for the uh, text. Okay. Okay. Oops. 577. Okay. Okay. There you go. So it's that fast, no? So immediately we could order what we want. Okay. Oops, we're subscribed to. Okay, let's try ordering something. Okay. Let's try ordering this one. Next. Okay. See to payment. Here's credit card. Oh, cool. Since progressive web apps can also take it can make transaction faster since we have this web payment API that you could utilize. So for example, I have this delivery app. So I could just integrate um, it easily. So it would ask for card number and stuff. It's darkened on your screen because it's secure. So basically it's like that, but we're not gonna use that for now. Just gonna use cash on delivery so we can proceed. And that fast. No need to install anything, right? That's so cool. Okay, how about museums and galleries? So this is an example I've made. Um, so let's say, for example, you are at the National Museum and you wanted to know about the different artworks that are in there. So using machine learning and progressive web app, we can make that experience really enjoyable. So this is Project Museum. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm gonna scan it. Oop. Oh, that is so fast. Okay, so no need to install, right? You don't need to install anything, and we are already immersed with the museum. So, for example, it's okay. Okay, let's say I want to see this artwork. Like, what is this artwork? So, you can just simply point this, and it would show us what that artwork is. So, this is the retablo. So, it is an upright panel, intricately carved and highly decorated. Oh, yeah, that's correct. It's the retablo. Let's try some other examples. Okay, wait, this one. Oh, yeah, it's the bust of Ricardo Carnicero. It's nice. We're learning a lot about art today. Oh, how about this one? Oh, it's the Spoliarium. That's cool. Okay. See, it's really enjoyable, and we didn't install anything. But yeah, of course, if you want to install it, just add it to home screen if you'd like to. But if you're not going to return to the museum very soon, we could just install it some other time, and it won't bother you. Okay. So let's have a look on the word um, progressive. When you say the word progress, it means to move forward or an onward movement towards doing something. And as the person who coined the term PWA, Alex Russell, along with um, other people at Google, so when he chose the word progressive web app, uh, so what he said is that these apps aren't packaged and deployed through stores, typically, but instead they're just websites that took the right vitamins. So they keep the web's ask when you need it permission model. Like for example, when you're gonna use the camera, it will only ask you when you um, need to use the camera, and adding new capabilities like being top level in your task switcher or to be at your home screen, just like what we did. We could install PWAs, and it could also be in your notification tray. So users don't have to make a heavyweight choice upfront and don't implicitly sign up for something dangerous just by clicking a link. So that's one of the beauty of PWA. So sites that want to send you notifications or be on your home screen needs to earn that right over time as you use them more and more. Just like what we used earlier, right? Like in Quick Eats, we ordered first before we installed that progressive web app. And the word install means different now because before install is a preliminary requirement, but now installation is could mean leads, diba? So progression. First, of course, your site would begin just like any other website or web app. It's in a tab. It doesn't have any powers. You could use it as is, and it won't mess up your system. But it's built with progressive app features like being secure, having service workers and manifest, which we are going to talk about later, and it is also responsive. So when the user frequently uses that app, for example, I always order using that Quick Eats, or I always write the LRT1, and I knew to myself that it's important. So that's when the time I can install it. So when it doesn't mean anything to me, I could just simply not install it and move on with my life. So also, when it's launched from the home screen, these apps blend into the environment just like what you usually know about your native apps that you get from the Play Store. They're top level, they could work full screen, and of course, they could work offline. But of course, they work offline after step one. So you need to visit them first. But now, instead of just being in the tab, they feel more like an app. Okay, so for example, Project Trend, the one we did earlier, we just scan the QR code and then we're taken into the browser. It's just like a regular tab it's like a regular website that you open, like you type the URL and use it. You use it first, right? Use it as you wish. You can add places, track your rides, share your rides. But then when you feel that it's important to you, you could just simply install it to your device, just like what you're seeing in the slide. And it would blend in just like any other app. So for if you want to use it for the second time, third time, other times, um, it feels like an app already, diba? That's there's lesser friction when it comes to using the app kasi there's no more install requirement. And it's like what I said earlier, it really feels like an app. Just like this, it has its own entry in the task switcher. So, but of course, let's ask ourselves, should we build progressive web apps? So first, of course, it works on all form factors. Like as you could see right there in the slide, that it works on cheaper phones. It's ubiquitous since it's the web. Just need a browser, and you could use your progressive web apps. And also, it's platform independent, so it works on Windows, on Mac, Android, iOS, on your smart TVs. Also, it's cheaper to make and accessible. So, and also, no, we have these crazy form factors coming. So, we have foldable screens, we have dual screens. So, it's easier to cater to these kinds of devices when you build the progressive web apps. So, also, it's convenient for most users since you don't need to install an app immediately. You could try it first, use it first before you install. And since PH or Philippines has slow internet, this is a great idea. So imagine using it for a contact tracing app, diba? Since the problem is 3G, progressive web apps should work and can work on slower internet connections. And also, just like what I've said earlier, it's cheaper to develop and it's starting to feel like native. So, since we're done at the intro of progressive web apps, let's now look at the essentials. So now you have your web app. What do you need to add? So first, it needs to be secure. So it needs to run on HTTPS. It needs to have a web manifest and a service worker. And on top of that, you could add additional features using modern web APIs like push notifications so that you could gain user loyalty and retention. Okay, app shell model. So we'll be having a look at what's an app shell model. So just like if you're acquainted to creating native apps, diba? When you make them, um, you only need to develop the view and the interactivity scripts on that, right? See now that idea is being inherited on the web with the app shell model. So basically, app shell is your minimal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript necessary to power your user interface. And when it's cached offline, what is going to be loaded. So basically, if it's too long, it's a page with JavaScript interactions and styling without the data. No data yet, just the view. Okay, the skeleton. So um, just like what we've discussed earlier, we have the client side rendering now on the web. Now your backend just needs to send the data and the views once. You only need to send the views just once, and for the other interaction you need to do with the service just about getting the data. So just like this. So for example, your backend just returns the first name and last name, and in your front end or in your app shell, diba, that's the only time when you process that data. Okay. So this is a clear um, view of an application shell or the app shell. No? So your application shell is just the view. The content is what is then being requested from the server. So how do we build PWAs today? So we have various front-end frameworks that definitely know and love and or hate. We have Angular, we have Vue, and we have React JS for the library. And of course, many are joining the party, like Flutter, which is now starting to create or starting to be available as a viable option for creating progressive web apps. So now let's discuss um, what you need to add in the code, right? So first, when you make your native apps, if you remember, if you build one, um, you have this metadata where you put your icons, the app name, and permissions. We also have the same thing for the web, but we call it as an app manifest. Okay, so it's a JSON file that contains the metadata for your progressive web app. So it contains the icon, app name, theme color, and more. So an example of that is like this. So you could see um, there in the JSON file, we have the name of the app. We have the theme colors and the icons. So that is what is used when your app is being installed. No? So this is used by the OS to know where to get the icons. What's the title of your progressive web app? And also we have the service worker, which is critically important for progressive web apps. So basically, it's a script that acts as a network proxy, like as a middleman that lets your app control network requests. So it can intercept with every network request, and that is powerful actually, since you can intercept with that. So when you're offline, it could you could utilize that script to show you something. So basically, service worker is the one that makes your progressive web app work offline by using the cache API. So um, wait, okay. This is the example of it. So since it's working with cache, no, so we're just going to list down the assets that would be cached and put there when there's like a new version, you put the cache of this. You can also remove old caches. So that's how powerful it is. So let's say if you're offline, as you can see near the fetch, selected add event listener fetch, um, we have there what is going to be returned to you when when the network request fails. So basically when you're offline. So there are different recipes for progressive web app. No, you could have your progressive web app always needed to get the app shell through the network. It needs to be online always, no, and just have a cache fallback. Also, it could work on cache only. So the first time it would download, and from then on, it would always use what is stored in the cache. Just like what your typical native apps does. It installs it first, puts it in the cache, and you can use it. Also, you can also do a get from the cache, you update it, and then you can refresh it the next time. There are many strategies that you could utilize if that's what you desire. So if you find this really tedious to work with, the let's say you have lots of files and it's hard to put them one by one, you could use different libraries and tools like Workbox, for example, that you could just put a config, run and put it in your build process, and it would do all of these for you. So it's like you don't need to think about it. But when you're working with complex applications, you might need to tweak it a little bit and do it for yourself. Okay, so now we're gonna do a quick code labs. We're gonna add PWA capabilities to Angular. So please visit this URL if you wanted to join the fun. Okay, so basically, it's the repo for that for our project right now. So just contains the base files and stuff. Okay, so for example, I've get cloned that already. All we need to do is to install it. Okay, and it's still installing in the command prompt, okay, in your terminal. Let's just wait for it to be finished. So, as you've seen earlier, as I've told you earlier, that iWant is starting to become a progressive web app, and iWant uses Angular. So most probably this is the way that they've done it to add uh, service worker and manifest to their app, okay, to their PWA. Wow, I'm looking at the live comments right now. We'll be answering some of the questions later. Okay. Hmm. What just happened? So basically, if you already have your project, your Angular project, you just run the the set of instructions later. So let's wait for that to finish. Hmm. Okay. When you see when you npm install and it stops, try Control plus D so that it would update. Okay. Hmm. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow. And while that happens, I'm going to open the project page, the folder on VS Code, okay, so that you could see. Oh, okay, the link. Wait. I'll show the link first. Oh, wait, what's happening in the background? Here, so you could clone this one, and just npm install that. But make sure that you have the Angular CLI installed. And if you don't have it yet, npm install -g at Angular /CLI. Okay, is it done? Okay, it's done. So let's try if it works. Yes. Okay, it's still compiling. Okay. I hope you're having fun right now. Same way that I'm having fun right now as well. Okay. I've included Angular router, but I'm not gonna use that for now. Okay. Okay. So let's try viewing it if it works. Okay. And yes, it does work. Okay. So let's say, for example, you have added um, features to it, like pages, other components, and stuff. Now we just have to check this out. Okay, it's already here. Just need to add it. There's the command already at the at the template. Oh, need another one. Didn't anticipate that. But let's stop the server for now. And just like that. That's so easy. That's so lazy. So fast. I don't know though about other um, frameworks if they have this kind of thing, but Angular does have that. See, it's adding the icons, it's adding the manifest, and the other necessary things to be added. It's installing the packages. Okay, so before we start the server, let's look at the what's been added. Okay, so I'll make it bigger. Okay, is it big enough? I guess it. I think it is. So, what's been added? First is that hmm, here. Oh wait. Oh no. In your in here, a manifest has been added. So it's already done for you. You have your icons here. Just replace them with your icon. You can change the color, background color, the theme color, and the name. Just like changing it now. Try techph.org and techph, the short name. Save that. And also here, what's been added is a theme color. So don't forget changing this if you are going to tweak this. It's okay. Okay. So let's try building it with this word. Can this be zoomed in? Oh yes. But how would we run this? Okay. Okay. Still at 47. Whee! Okay. Should be fast because there's nothing so much on it yet. Okay. Yeah, this setup. Yeah. Okay, so now it's done building and let's check it out. Oh, sorry, here. And your service worker is here. Is it here? Is this one? I don't know. But it's made. It's been built. So let's try that. Mhm. Let's try checking that out if that works. Oh my gulay. Wait, will this be fast? I don't know. Let's try running it. Because I think you cannot try debugging the service worker and stuff using the ng serve. That's why we need to build this. Okay. Okay. Uh, a browser here. Okay. And there it is. Okay, it's a you can try installing it already and you can see right there techph.org. It's very cool. Wait, before we do that, let's look at the application and you can see the icons are there. Okay, just replace them with your icons. Please change them. Okay, because I want .ph doesn't yet. You could also see the theme color, the background color there. So if you're debugging, just check these out. Okay, and let's try installing it. So let's say, oh, I want to install this and just do that. Okay, it's here. It's up the other screen. Here it is. So as you can see here, right, it's like um, a first class citizen on Windows already. So, and also if you check it out, let's search for that here. TechPH. Oh, the other side. TechPH.org. Yeah, it still shows here. There it is, techph.org. And you could run multiple instances. See, it feels just like native. It has its own window. It, and you can change the color of this as well if you'd like to. But yeah, basically that's it. Um, wait a minute. Okay. So there you go. Cool, right? It's easy to start now doing your PAA. Now, the only thing you need to add is the ability for it to work offline. So just handle those offline instances. You could use local storage for that. Local storage, it's easy to use. So it's just easy as set item, get item. Okay, so let's try that. Make this bigger. So if you need to set something, it's about set item. If you don't know this yet, name. Okay, so you just need to get it here. So use it as you would, as you please. So I guess that concludes my talk. Um, do I have anything else to add? Um, Hi, Luis.
Yeah, hi, Andre. Thank you so much for that. And
Mm-mm.
I think at this point, thank you for that wonderful presentation, by the way. And that was very informative. And I think we have a few questions from the people who are watching us. And let's try to.
Mm-mm.
Okay, this one. Okay, so Joey Clarin is asking, so PWA is something that still works without the internet. The internet needed features will work once connected. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So you need it just to load it first, and the installation happens in the background. So the next time that you would like to use it, you just go back to that URL again, and it's installed. I mean, you can open it, but installation is another thing, though.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And for Joey, if you have any additional question, you can just leave a comment as well. And for you guys who are still watching us, um, if you were able to take note of your questions, please don't forget to leave them in the comment section, and we'll try to get to them tonight. And I think you just have to read this, Andre.
Oh, hello to those watching that are members of programmers, developers, especially to the admins and mods there. So, hello.
Okay.
I hope
Yeah.
you're learning a lot for
Yeah, because
free.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And yeah, I told them earlier that we're gonna do a shout out for those guys. And we also have here Jefferson Mamalias. He is watching us from Vigo City.
Hello, Jefferson. I hope you're
Okay.
enjoying.
Yeah, I really think that he is. And I think I have one question here that we
Yes.
need to answer from John Denver Diaz. What is the difference between Angular, Vue, and React?
Um, all of the, I mean, Angular and Vue are frameworks. When you say frameworks, these are this is a tool that you can quickly use to create your applications. So it is an opinionated set of libraries that you just um, uh, get, and then you could build on top of that. Um, React is a library that you could create components with. So though I'm not really much in, I'm really not that knowledgeable with React, but it's the most common library to date. But you could use that in making your PWA. All the thing you need to do is just to add your service worker and your manifest and the icons and stuff. All of them works cool.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have another question here from one of our past speakers, Harvey J. Season. I really want to learn Angular also, but isn't the learning curve for, but isn't there a learning curve for building it? If I know Vue and React already, how would I make them PWA?
With the React, I'm not sure yet. I haven't studied much about how to add, if there's a library for that. But with Vue, if you have the what's that? That GUI that you use to manage your Vue projects. No? You just have to flick the switch to enable progressive web app support. And it would already add the service worker, the manifest in that already. So it's easy with Vue if you know
Okay,
Vue. Mm.
yeah, thank you for that. And Harvey, thank you for the question. If you have any follow up question, you can just leave a comment as well. And we have one here from Raj Buranya. Can we use Google AdMob work with PWA or should it be AdSense?
You could use anything that you're comfortable with. Since this is basically like a web app still, we just added a few features to make it work offline and stuff. But you can choose any.
Okay, thank you for that, Andre. And one question from Lionel Briones. For example, I have a Twitter app, and a user post a tweet while offline. Is it possible for PWA to queue it and post it once I get online without the user doing anything?
I think I've done this before with the quick eats. So if you try quick eats, you could order offline. It just queues it. So it would try um, putting it across the network. And if it doesn't, it's just gonna store it using local storage. And when you're online, you could try that network request again. And yeah, so it's just with how you work with your app. But since this is a progressive web app already, and there's an offline capability, I think you need to code your app as if it should really work offline. So you could utilize queuing or having a stack or um, storing it temporarily.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Andre. And I think we still have time to answer a few questions. So if you're okay, Andre, are you still good to answer a few
Yes,
questions? Okay.
yeah,
So
definitely.
we have here one from RJ Bahe. Sir, by the way, quick question. Deployment to live server, ikakopy lang lahat ng files inside the directory of the dev folder to desired live server folder. May mga dapat pa bang i-tweak sa configs for the app to work?
If you're using Angular, typically need you don't need to since it's automated. Um, it's already part of the build process. But let's say you're using React, that you need to create the build process. No, you need to just copy it lang. But if you're using, let's say, Workbox, it's automated. You just need to put the Workbox set of code instructions to your build process, and it's automatic.
Okay, thank you. And RJ, I hope that answers your question. And if you do
Mm.
have, I think this is very technical. So if you have additional questions, you can leave it in the comments, and we'll probably just answer it at the end of the session to give you more information about that. And we have another question here from Joey. Uh, I think this is a follow up question. In terms of employment, what's the better tech to learn between the three? So I think she's referring to
Mm.
her previous question. Let me just put that on screen.
The three
Uh,
frameworks and
yeah,
libraries.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Mm, uh, I think you just need to know where you're most comfortable at. Um, but basically, most people are going to go on a path of which framework or library is the most common. And right now, it's React. So if you wanted to, make it easier, you could start with React first. Learn the intricacies since it's the most in demand, and then when you have the free time, you could just learn Angular or Vue, since most of these frameworks and libraries share the same set of principles.
Okay, thank you, and hopefully that answers your question, Joey. And we have one other question here from Nerik Havinal. Hi, can I use material design for PWA Angular?
Uh, yes, you can. If you're gonna look at my screen, you just uh, include this ng add Angular material if you want to have material design for your Angular project.
Okay, thank you. And just going through this very quickly, we have one here from Sid Villamore. Can PWA detect if it's already installed?
I'm not sure about that, but I guess you can. But you may look at it at MDN if you'd like to. But currently, I don't know if it does. But yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Though
Mhm.
there's a set of code, like there's a start URL in your manifest. If you could see there, there's a start URL. You could like put here, like something like uh, PWA. You could do this. So let's say it is being launched from the home screen. It is going to open this one. So you could use that as an indicator if it's being used using the installed version or from the home screen.
Okay, that was very helpful. And I think this one is it's still related to
Mm.
the topic at hand, and I think Mark Noledo, sorry, Mark. Mark Noledo just wanted to ask. You demonstrated Quick Eats payment screen earlier. Um, he just wants to know what the API was used there.
It's a native it's a native API for the web payments API. Though I think it's still not yet ready for production use, but you can try it out already. Just search for the web payments API on Google, and you're going to get the necessary methods for that if you're going to try it out.
All right, thank you so much. And Mark, if you have any additional question, you can just again leave it in the comment section. And I think this is it's time to also invite everyone to the communities. Andre for PD and also for PWA, for anyone who'd like to have this very supportive group of people, especially for those who are still learning this skill or learning a new tech skill to be very specific. So where can they go to join the community?
Wait, I'm going to show it.
Okay, sorry about that.
Um, we do have we do have a Facebook group. First is our Facebook page now. Just visit fb.com/PW Pilipinas. Also, you could just search for our group. You could join our group. We usually post many resources there, and we offer support if you have questions. Just look for PW Pilipinas on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter, twitter.com/PW Pilipinas, and on LinkedIn. So, yeah. But also, we have our site. That's pwapilipinas.org are if you want to check that out as well. Or send us an
Okay,
email,
and
hi
you
at
can also connect with
pwapilipinas.org. Yeah.
okay, and you can always connect with Andre on LinkedIn as well. So
Yeah.
just to add that person that can help you with learning technology, especially to the students and for the individuals who are learning a new skill and are watching us tonight. Thank you so much for that. And our advocacy has always been to give you this to give you free access to this information from experienced professionals in tech. So thank you so much for the time, Andre, and also for you guys, as I mentioned earlier, there's an opportunity for you to refer your friends or apply to as an Android developer for a company, for a local company here in the Philippines. So I'll be leaving the link in the comment section as well. And additionally, we have Recruit Day also has this online self-paced introduction to design thinking. So if you're interested to learn that, you can scan the QR code or you can go back to this video. We will be leaving the link in the comment section as well. So after this session, we will have Joshua de Guzman. You're not related to Joshua in any way, Andre, right?
No.
Yeah, it's just really weird because for this week we have Andresito de Guzman and Joshua de Guzman, and on June 27 uh, we have we have something similar as well to that effect. So it's kind of like a coincidence. So yeah, I really thought that they're brothers or kamag-anak in a way.
No, but yeah, I guess we
It
just
will,
share the same passion for helping out the community.
yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
thicker than blood. Having the passion for tech and for sharing as well. So, Andre, thank you so much for the time, and for everyone also, I would like to add that we also have a YouTube channel. It's you can just search for techph.org, and then you can find all the videos of our past and future our past sessions there, and all our future sessions will also be posted there. You can still send your comments on those videos, and we will try to get back to you with the answers. We will try to make that as engaging as possible. And for July is further into design, so we will talk further about UX design and a little bit about development, and we also have um, speakers who will share more about data science, AI, the topics that we first talked about in our earlier sessions for Tech PH. So, guys, thank you so much for your time, and Andre, thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing your experience and knowledge tonight. Um,
Can I
uh,
share our events first?
yep.
I forgot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
it's
Go
okay.
ahead.
On June 20th, if you've seen the museum project earlier, I'm going to do a code session about that using Teachable Machine and Progressive Web App. You don't need to be an expert in machine learning or AI. Just join us in the event. And also on the 27th, it's another code session. Flip the switch. So it's just about um, making your web app progressive. Yeah. So thank you.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, again, guys, that's Teachable Machine plus Progressive Web Apps on uh, June 20, and then we have Flip the Switch code session on June 27.
Yes.
So, aside from that, we have a Tech PH, we also have our partner communities also have a lot of events for you in store. So, maximize the time that you're at home and join as many community events as you can, right?
Yes.
All right. So thank you again, Andre, and thank you for everyone who's tuned in. So we have a separate stream for introduction to Flutter. So that's development for Android and iOS. And it's great that Andre talked a little bit about Flutter earlier. So we have Joshua de Guzman who will talk more about that in a little while. So please visit our page. Look for that video, and we will go live at exactly 6:30 in the evening tonight. Again, that's 6:30. Sorry about if I earlier posted 7:30, but it's 6:30. I think that's 14 minutes from now. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for the time, Andre. Do you have anything else to say?
Uh, Follow us on our social media accounts. We have many in store for everyone.
Yeah, of course. So, guys, please follow our also TechPH and PWA PD. So, also we will for all those who registered to the event, we'll give you all the links that you can follow, just so that you can be part of this very collaborative community in PWA. Okay, thank you guys, and have a great evening. Thank you so much.